Land. It is Potts-Schissler here, and I am with a dear friend of mine, Laura Hicks. This is Laura, and Laura is the amazing entrepreneur who owns this in-home private studio salon called Lola's Boutique. It is right here in Littleton, Colorado. She's the one who takes care of. She busts my wig, and I'm very, very grateful for it. She also refurbishes furniture. So you see that big mirror in the back here? She's got chandeliers, she's got chairs, she does whole tables, she does cabinetry. And what's the latest thing you're into?
Doing a lot of banisters.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
So refurbishing, remember the horrible 1980s?
Yes, or all that oak. Getting rid of the oak.
Okay,
yes.
And turning it into some darker colors.
Darker or lighter, beautiful contrast.
Awesome.
Yes.
So she's an artist all the way around, but something that I am so attracted to with Laura is I've been watching her now for probably a solid year and seeing her business mind for helping other people grow their business. And in return, I see that the spirit of giving and receiving is exchanged in seeing her business flourish. Now, you started doing hair how long ago?
10 years ago now.
Okay, so it's been 10 years, but you've had your in-home boutique
2 years.
For 2 years, okay. And are you pretty booked?
Yes.
Okay.
Very booked.
And so a lot of times it takes a long time to get a book filled. How long does it take to get a book filled usually?
Typically, on average, it's between 2 and 3 years to start building up your clientele.
Okay.
So the fact that I've gotten here a lot sooner is pretty amazing.
Okay. So what do you think the secret? I'm gonna have some coffee.
Yes.
What do you think the secret is to your having gone ahead of the curve and got a full book of business in your first year?
What I believe it is that I've been putting myself out there, networking, meeting people, building relationships, planting that seed so that my face becomes familiar. And at the same time, I'm also helping them grow their business.
Okay.
I keep an ear out all the time for people that are looking for somebody in particular. So if I hear someone saying I'm looking to buy a car, I know somebody who sells cars that can help them with that. Mm-hmm. So my first inkling is to just say, hey, I know somebody that can help you if you want some help. So I'm just constantly listening for that. And I think with me wanting to help others, they in turn want to help me naturally. So it's kind of become a natural give and take. It's not forced. Mm-hmm. And I think just being genuine about it is really what has helped me get there.
Okay. I would agree. I do see you promoting other people online. We use nextdoor.com. I know that's something that we're both on. We also are on word of mouth quite a bit. I see you on Facebook quite a bit. What are you finding the platforms today are the most useful for promoting other people?
Definitely Facebook word of mouth. For anybody that's new in a business, I like to let them know about Facebook word of mouth. There are some people that don't like being on Facebook or don't even know about the word of mouth. So that's one of the first things that I like to let them know. Like, hey, if you're not on Facebook, give it a shot if you're really wanting to grow your business. Yeah. And if you are on Facebook, let me show you which word of mouths are very active so that when we do refer you, you're getting a notification and you can follow up with them. Right. Because the thing is, if I refer you and you're not on there, you'll never be able to follow up with them. We're throwing your name out there, but there's no follow-up.
Yeah, that's discouraging. I don't know where I want to see. I'm calling you out, Woodward. My friend Matt Woodward, he is a amazing insurance broker with Colorado Insurance, and he doesn't tend to be on social media. However, I don't know if you've been watching it. Probably the last 3 months. Yeah. I have seen at least once a week somebody asking for a good, not a shady, but a really good, reliable, integrity-filled auto and home insurance broker. And I give out his name and I give out his number all the time. And he's succeeding in his own right. However, if he was going to get that little tiny bit of extra margin, he could do that. Now we can go ahead and give out his name and his number, and people can certainly call him, and we hope that they do. But that's an example of somebody who's running a high-end business and they're not in this area, even in their local area, and they're missing out.
Absolutely.
So, getting ready for today. So you guys, I hope that you check out Lola's Salon Boutique so that you can come in and sit in this chair right here and have Laura go ahead and be your personal counselor for anywhere from 1 hour to like 3 hours. What do we do for me? We're about a 3 hour.
Yes.
And I'm so out of integrity with you right now because I was like, I need to get in because Gracie's birthday is coming up on Friday.
Yeah.
And I was like, is there anything that works? And there's nothing there was no appointment that could work. So I'm like, okay, we're just going to call it ombre.
It's looking good.
I'm ombre-ing it, you know? So Laura helps me with that. So, but Laura and I, we have a pretty cool story. I would say our story is one that let me know what her heart is. And when I come across somebody who I think is desires to grow and to learn, I totally want to invest in that person, and I want to help them with their learning curve. And we don't have to go into the story, although maybe someday, maybe segment 5 we will. But right now, it's more about learning her heart for people and the road that you've come along. I have a quote here from Katie Krementzos with Businesswomen Rock. And she actually just won an award for being one of the top female podcasters in the U.S. Way to go, Katie. Wow. Yeah, right? But one of her quotes was, the more people you help, the more your business grows, not the other way around.
That's 100% true.
So I kind of want to find out who helped you.
Who helped me grow my business?
So who are the people that gave you a shot, gave you a chance? How did they role model for you? And maybe it wasn't even business. Maybe it was just in life.
So in life, it'd be my grandfather. My grandfather came from Cuba when he was 15 with $5 in his pocket, and he made it all the way to Los Angeles, and he became a millionaire. He opened up 4 restaurants in the Los Angeles area. He busted his butt off, and he had a ranch in Acton, California, and one in Ecuador. So. And he was giving. He was a giver. There'd be homeless people outside of the restaurant, and he allowed us to fill plates and take them out to him. And he owned a house that he meant to reconstruct, and he'd let them sleep in there.
Oh, wow.
So watching him be so successful, yet so giving, I thought that was amazing. And so I've always grown up with seeing that, and so I would say he's my role model for that.
What do you do in your life today to carry on the legacy of not hoarding all the success you have, but to go ahead and follow in Grandpa's footsteps?
One of my new favorite things to do that I've been doing the last 4 months is volunteering to do free haircuts for the homeless.
Oh, that's so sweet.
So I do that once a month, and it is, I'm sure a lot of you guys have heard that when you give, you actually get more than when you're just receiving things from people that are handing them out. I get so much more when I'm doing something like that for people that are unable.
Yeah.
And we don't realize that it is so nice for us to easily just go get a haircut. But for the homeless, it's not, and it's really a treat for them. They feel like a person again.
Wow.
Yeah.
What do you think in the last month? What was one of the lessons that that experience has taught you?
So I recently started working with transgender male to female and helping them learn how to do their own hair. And that was also a really good experience, just realizing that we're all people. We all want to feel good about ourselves, and sometimes looking in the mirror, even though we're not feeling good about ourselves inside, if we look good, it gives us a little bit more like pep to our step. Like, okay, I'm looking good. I can get on with this day.
That's right.
And so what I think I do is super simple, but it's not a simple thing for the people that come in to see me.
Yeah.
And I have to remember that.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what keeps me grounded.
You know, that's funny that you say that there's the inside of how there's so many layers, right? The first layer is there's that seed inside every single one of us to want to come out and really be who we were made to be. You know, like if you take an apple seed and you put it in the ground, it's never going to grow up and produce bananas.
Right.
You know, it is what it is. And so you hope it gets into the right soil. But what activates that is the right nourishment, right? That it gets put in the right place, and that it gets the water and the sunlight, and then it goes through. It has to break, right? And I think that's the part where we have to break what's inside of us to let it push through all the pushback, all the pressure, all the gravity before it gets up and actually grows and flourishes and thrives. And I think, for somebody who is feeling very much like they are a man trapped in a woman's body or a woman trapped in a man's body, or for somebody, I'm going to take it over to somebody who feels like they are meant to succeed at a very high level, but they feel trapped in an hourly job, or there's that, again, that the who I know I can be on the inside of me, and how do I get that out? And I think sometimes we can get really discouraged by our actions or by people pointing fingers at us or judgments, rather than being able to find a place where people are encouraging and nurturing. And it sounds like when you are helping somebody who's homeless, and then a transgender person who's homeless, you're helping to go ahead and give them some of the nutrients for the real them to kind of come out. Now, it's an interesting conversation, right? Because most people that know me know I'm a Christian, and it's been funny. It's been funny to watch that, to watch even other Christian people treat me like I'm prude, or like, stay away from her, or don't include her, or don't talk about these things. We already know, but she has an opinion about that. I'm like, and it's like, man, if they only knew. If they only knew. Some of you know the stories, but I look at when my ex-husband and I were going through our divorce, we decided to start actually learning how love acts, and to get away from rules and bricks and stones and glass ceilings and all of that, and just to stop and say, how does love act? If I take everything else away, how does love and kindness act? So I think more people are drawn to encouragement than they are to the rules. And I think it takes quite a bit of maturity to go ahead and step into restrictions that are good for us once we're an adult. If you're a little kid, that's a very different story, right? But the majority of people are actually adults, and so they have a mind of their own. And to just see somebody wake up to the absolute best part of themselves. They'll walk it out. They'll have their encounters. They'll figure out what they need to. But to just share love, honestly, that is an amazing gift.
Yes.
That is an amazing gift.
Well, it's funny you mentioned encouragement, because I think part of my success is being around other professionals that are helping encourage me. And honestly, I don't know that if I surrounded myself with those group of women and men, that I'd be where I am, because it's pushed me even further, not to be better than other hairstylists, but to be my best. I don't compete with others. I compete with myself, and I'm constantly wanting to grow so that I can do my best for my clients.
Yeah. Now, you have a good trick. Now, you and I belong to a business group together. That being said, you can go to pretty much any business group. You have a knack of inviting people from the world around you to come and join you. And it's funny, because sitting back, I kind of look at who some of the most influential people I've come across, and how is it they get groups, and then before you know it, they're kind of everywhere, and they just have people following them. And it starts with an invitation.
Something simple.
It's something as simple as, I see you, and I'm going to ask you, do you want to join me? It takes quite a bit of courage. So I would ask you, how do you go about inviting people into your world?
So have you heard how the most successful salespeople aren't really salespeople? They're more sharing what they're passionate about. When I invite people, it's because I really want to help them grow, because I really do feel that group is the big reason I'm as successful as I am.
Yeah.
So when I share, I am sharing from a loving place.
Mm-hmm.
And I just ask, like, hey, are you looking to grow your business? And if you are, like, I get 74% of my business from this group. Not everybody gets that.
Mm-hmm.
But if you do what you're supposed to do and just follow that,
Yeah.
and this, I mean, even if you do the minimum,
Mm-hmm.
you can really move forward in that group.
Yeah.
And so really for me, it's just sharing where my success came from. And I think when you do that and it doesn't feel pushy, they feel like, wow, thank you for thinking of me.
Yeah.
Instead of, why would you do this to me?
Yeah.
Like, now I feel obligated to go. And it's
okay.
two different, it comes from two different places, and mine just happens to be from a loving place.
Right, so I've got this question for you. You're saying so much. Okay, do you time the invitation?
Like, or do you get to know them a little bit, and maybe the second time you see them, invite them, or do you like if you're on Facebook or whatever platform you're using, and you see somebody say,
I'm looking for a bakery.
I'm looking for a bakery. Okay, then what do you do?
I wait to see all the responses of people who either own a bakery or the people that have used certain bakeries. And then I go onto the websites and I kind of just check them out to see how they're doing.
Girl, she takes the time to do this.
I do.
Well, that's important because most of you say click, you turn the channel when she says, I go and I look at all of it and then I go to their websites. Okay, so that right there is just a teeny tiny little gem. Keep going. Y'all better open up your treasure boxes. She's giving you some gold.
So once I'm in there, I kind of check to see, look at their work, see where they operate of, where their location is, and then based on what I've seen, and if I think that they'll be a good fit for the group, I send them a message and I let them know, hey, I just saw that several people have referred you. Are you looking to grow your business?
That's awesome. Okay.
And then I give them a quick tidbit of, I get 74% of my business from this amazing networking group, and it's free. Just come check it out if you're looking to grow, and let me know what you think.
That's awesome.
And oftentimes they'll let me know, like, I would love to, but it's like my busy season. Please check back with me. It's not like, please don't contact me, or they read it and don't reply.
Yeah.
And again, I think it's just the way I'm wording it, where it's just like, I really do want to share the wealth. It's something I feel that not many professionals know about. And the reason I do it is because someone reached out to me when I posted about my business.
Oh.
And
can you say who?
Yeah. So Victoria Hartcorn, Kyle's wife.
Victoria Hartcorn.
Yes. She reached out. And
you got to plug her.
Yeah.
Yeah. Victoria Hartcorn with Accelerate Fitness and, what
nutrition and health
coach. But
she's
she's got a Facebook page also for warrior women in fitness.
Yes.
Anyway, Victoria Hartcorn. Yeah, I need to check her out. Okay.
So I look at it as she gave me a gift. And if she didn't reach out to me, I most likely would not be where I am right now. Not just professionally, but personally in the growth that I've had with my business and myself. So I want to pass that on. Like, I want someone to one day look at me and say, I am so thankful that you connected me with this.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a gift that no one can ever take away from you.
Yeah. Oh, that's so good. I love putting success with a specific person, a specific story, a specific moment. I think sometimes people will look at us and they see their perspective version of your having arrived. And they didn't necessarily see the making, the making of it, or they see you arrived and then life continues and maybe you fall down, maybe you fail, or you go through something in life in a transition and all of a sudden you're not measuring up to that pedestal that they created. You didn't create it, they created it, and so again, there's moments and those instances, I think, that actually bond us to success and relationship are really the moments that we look at, we implant that in our heart, in our mind, and we can go back and say, wow, I want to carry on what that person at that moment in that time of my life did for me. So it's a good transition to a topic of failure. Oh, Lordy. So I would ask, what are some of the big lessons you brushed yourself off from in the chapter called I Failed at That?
Oh, how do I choose?
Oh, there's so many.
You know,
I'm sorry.
sometimes in business you feel so defeated that you can have 100 happy clients and then you have one person.
Oh, it's always
One,
the one.
just one.
Yeah.
And you just start like
Yeah.
thinking, should I even be doing this?
Yeah.
Am I good at what I'm doing?
Oh.
Maybe I should just quit and go back to what I was doing. And I've had to learn, I have certain affirmations that I go back to with regarding that.
Okay.
I have to remember that stuff, that I can't allow one person to ruin my dream.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
This is something I've been working towards since I started beauty school. So, I mean, you're looking at about 11 and a half years. I just got here 2 years ago. So for somebody to come in and just rip that away from me, I can't allow that.
Yeah.
That's what I've been working towards for so long.
Yeah.
And I have had unhappy clients that didn't really give me any feedback, therefore I couldn't correct anything, and they just left me a bad review.
Oh, yeah, that's
Reviews these days, I mean, everybody lives off of reviews. And so having a 4.8, you're just like, oh, how can I get it to a 5? But what I've come to realize is people don't want a 5. When you do see a business that has all 5 stars, you start to wonder if they're even real.
That's even real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
you know, I've learned to embrace the negative from people and realize that it's not me,
Yeah.
it's them.
Yeah.
Because the people that have allowed me to correct my mistakes are still with me.
Yeah. You know, you say that, it makes me laugh. I give a lot of coaching, the personality style assessment I do with my clients oftentimes leads them into using it as a hiring tool. But outside of that, there's like, hey, Kathy, do you have any more tips on what I need to look for? And I say, yeah, you need to ask questions that reveal a person's vulnerability to admit that they fail, and that they actually aren't fragile to fail. And it's one of those where if somebody's giving all the perfect answers and you don't see any vulnerability, I mean, there isn't a single candidate that isn't going to have something you need to work on. You know, and yeah, an owner has to decide how much of a project they're going to take on and how much time they have to develop that person, not just in their skills, but in their personal walk, their personal growth. You know, if they're going to be spending 40 to 60 to whatever hours a week, it's going to be personal, not just professional. So they're probably going to be really skilled at certain aspects, but wherever their personal internal growth is stagnant, it's going to get challenged on the job. So failure becomes big.
Yes.
When I had my daughter, she's turning 6. I know she's turning 6 on Friday. That's hard to believe, but it's true. I was single. I was newly divorced, but in a relationship. It's gross and messy, and other times. But I was running out of money, and you know, the life that I had prior to going into that was one where I was doing professional speaking. Well, I had done some adjunct work at the University of Tampa, and this lovely lady, Carly Gilbert, she was a student there. And we really connected on a coaching level, so much so that when she got a job in the HR department at Nielsen Media, she introduced me to the head of HR Global. and they had a global leadership conference.
Wow.
And it was in May of 2013, and I had Grace March 22nd.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, and I was touting how important it is to have a professional speaker and that you can count on them and blah, blah, blah. And while all of these things are very, very true, I gave no credit to the condition I was in. I didn't give credit to the state that my mind was in, mommy brain, and the chemicals. And so I developed a workshop for them, and it flopped. Nielsen Media, one of the largest companies in the world, which could have been an amazing gateway. My jokes were not catered to international audience. And they didn't understand the references. So I would use pop culture that was U.S. pop culture to try and make points, and it didn't connect. Right. And because there was the barrier of understanding, it lengthened the time of the program so that the amount of time we had to do hands-on team building workshopping, it reduced significantly. It was just a cluster. It was a cluster. And the end result of that was I brought disappointment to Carly, for sure, to our relationship. And I totally ruined my ability to ever work for that company again, but it's like, wow, how do you recover from that?
You
you do.
Learning how not to do that.
Girl, right?
Yeah.
So you stop and you say, okay, there's my fantasy of what I think I can take on, and then there's the present moment of what I'm trying to do, and then there's the hindsight of what I did.
Yeah.
Dan Thurman is a speaker who, this line says, there's what you plan, there's what you do, and there's what you, what is it? It's talking about speaking. It's like, there's the speech you plan to give, the speech you give, and then the speech you wish you gave.
Yeah.
and that's just true, I think, period.
Yes.
So I think our story of how we act to other people when they're learning, we're either a safe place for people to learn or not. And I don't know about you, but when you create an environment that is a safe place where you say, you know what, I know you're going to make mistakes and I can handle your mistakes. That's kind of hard in the hair industry.
Yes. Really is.
For people to say, okay, I can handle your growth curve. I can take it. We're going to do this together. What does that do for a person to have somebody say, I can take your mistakes? What does that done in your life?
Honestly, I think it removes that pressure of trying to overperform, so then you can relax. And I think you perform better that way because you don't have that weight on you, like, oh my gosh, this is someone I network with. Like, I better not mess up their hair. And then you start overthinking things. So if you feel it's a safe place, I think you reduce that stress in that person, but I think it also opens up the relationship because then people can come to you and say, I feel good with you because you know that I'm having a hard time here, but you're still allowing me to learn and you're still giving me a chance. And so with that, I say, you know what? I did have a difficult time there. I'm going to start taking some classes so this doesn't happen again.
Yeah, right. I mean, that's just it, right? It's one thing to be out to like, oh, I feel relieved, but that this person has given me grace. I don't know. But to stop and say, okay, I'm not going to go, phew, I got away with that one. It's, no, I'm going to go ahead and invest. Now, what do I need? What do I need to do? What do I need to learn? I was super impressed when you were I think it was 2 years ago, right? It was about 2 years ago.
A little over a year ago for the Vidal Sassoon.
Yeah, for Vidal, where you had come into here's some gaps. And you got yourself into training after training after training after training and just got yourself then into continuously getting into classes and then getting into men's haircuts and then. So this hunger, like you're belly, I'm sitting here, it's like, oh, it's purring, it's so hungry to know more, to bring value to your client. So, one last question I would have is when somebody walks away from you, having had a service, what do you hope they do next? What do you hope they do with this? I've just got this service. Now I'm going to go into my life. What part of their life do you hope you inspired them to go out and do?
There's several different things. I know when I've had clients that come in, you can tell that they're not feeling secure about themselves. So they're like a little slouched. I want to give them confidence. So if I did a haircut and a color, I want them to walk out looking better and feeling better about themselves. And that's probably the best part of my job.
Yeah.
Is the difference between them coming in and then going out. I do hair, so it's like a walking billboard. People are going out into the world
right.
with their hair done. So it's not something that could be hidden. So I strive to do my best with each and every client so that when someone asks, who does your hair? They're ecstatic to say, oh my gosh, Laura Hicks with Lola Salon and Boutique. Here's her information. That is like the biggest compliment I can get.
Yeah.
And I am mostly referral based. I have 5 clients that I've gotten on my own.
Okay. That you went fishing for.
Out of like 97 clients.
Oh my gosh, wow.
Yeah.
That's great.
So it's a compliment.
Yeah, no kidding. And I said I had one question. Actually, I guess I have another one. When did confidence, when did it start being an issue in your life? And when did you gain it?
I didn't have confidence like all of my school years.
What was life like for you in school years?
It's difficult now because I see how my daughter struggles because of social media.
Oof, yeah.
And I look back and I think, what would have life been like if we had social media? And to be honest with you, I don't think I would have survived it. Literally. I don't think I could have. I suffer from depression, and growing up with depression and then being teased. It takes one person to say you're fat and ugly for it to stick with you forever. And unfortunately, we give that power to people because when we're kids, we don't have what we have now to just say, that's not me, that's you. And so then you keep hearing it repeatedly and you just feel like, okay, maybe I am fat and ugly. And it sticks with you. I think I started getting my confidence back when I started doing my hair.
Okay.
And it was such a simple thing, doing my hair.
When was this? When were you doing your hair?
I started in high school, but it wasn't much for me. It wasn't until cosmetology school.
Okay.
So in cosmetology school, it's almost like having a slumber party every night. Everybody's working on each other, waxing and doing nails and haircuts.
So it's like a group that you're belonging with.
Yes, and you get to experiment with your hair. And I was just feeling more feminine.
Now hold on a second. Why cosmetology school?
I've always loved hair and makeup.
Okay.
I was always asked to do hair and makeup for dances.
Did you have that little Barbie head where you could play with her hair?
No, I had cousins.
You had cousins? Oh my gosh, how many cousins and sisters?
I have a sister, and then I have 11 cousins.
Oh my gosh.
Most of which are girls.
Oh my gosh, okay.
And they were all kind enough to let me experiment with their hair.
Wow, that's so good. Okay.
Yes. And it continued even into my college years where I had friends like, hey, you put this color on or you put some highlights in. So I was kind of self-taught. I mean, I learned the actual techniques in school, but that passion has always been there. And, and I think it was enhanced when I realized how simple it is to boost someone's confidence with something like hair and makeup.
Yeah.
Or like even an eyebrow wax or getting your nails done.
Yeah.
Those are simple things that just make you feel good about yourself.
Oh my gosh, you said that, and all of a sudden I remember. Sorry, Mom. My mom, when she got into her 40s, she started growing this one hair, just this one, and she would, oh my gosh, when she would catch it, she would like run, and I mean, you would see this woman run to get the tweezers and beg me to pull it out because she felt that the one hair made her like, what's that?
Yes.
Ujimoto? What's the deformed guy from Frankenstein?
Oh gosh, what is his name?
Yes, master.
Yeah.
And whatever his
remember,
name
yes.
is, Igor.
Igor,
She
yes.
felt like she looked like Igor, which she did. She's beautiful. But yes, just something as simple. And I noticed that women start getting hair in the wrong places, and they get our eyebrows and eyelashes start to go away. These evil older women never told us that this would happen. And then it starts to come down your face, and they start to like develop like little beards.
Yeah.
So do you have a diverse clientele, like young and old?
Oh yeah.
So, and the confidence is definitely, maybe different areas, but
I definitely have a huge age range.
Yeah.
Anywhere from a year old to about 82.
okay, wow, yeah,
And all of it, you can tell in the different age groups what they're concerned about.
yeah,
And so I've learned to kind of cater to that.
yeah,
Covering up wrinkles with bangs, getting rid of hair, facial hair, balding. I mean, there's so much between men and women. And one thing that I've learned, men are just as self-conscious as women are.
They're like little, okay, they like to say that women like to talk. I'm sorry, but oh my Lord. Men are like gossipy chickens.
Yeah.
Once they get in the right man group, then they're just, they can gossip.
Oh yeah.
They don't call it gossip.
No, they don't.
And they don't
gossip.
call it insecurity.
No.
So you see that they're just as concerned with how they look. How do they talk about it? Give us a tip.
So balding, I mean, that's something you see a
Yeah.
lot of. And so if they don't already have a hairstyle that is working to cover it up,
Mm-hmm.
that is the one thing they'll ask. Like, I'm open to anything if you can make my hair look fuller. And to be honest, it's not always just a haircut. It's the product. I mean, the number one product I sell is mostly to men. I sell it to both female and male, but mostly men buy it.
Okay.
And it's just a powder that kind of just thickens up your hair and just makes it look fuller.
Yeah.
Yes, and it doesn't weigh it down because
Okay.
it's light.
Yeah.
And I can sell that all day, and it's because we feel better when we look good and look in the mirror and feel like, okay, I don't see my bald spot as much,
Yeah.
So it just makes it feel a little bit younger because we are younger in our mind than
Oh
we actually
my
are
gosh, yes.
like, physically.
Yeah.
And so it doesn't match up when we look in the mirror and we see this older aging person and in our mind you're like, God, I kind of feel like I just graduated high school,
I had this conversation with my friend Jess Jimerson, is the cafe manager at Holy Grounds down at Front Range Christian, and she's having her birthday soon, and we're talking about it, and she says, I'm gonna be and I was like, oh my gosh, and she's like, I'm not excited about that, and inside I'm like, well, but I'm that, but then I stopped, and it made me think about my birthday coming up. I was like, oh, that number, like, I'm going to be 45. What?
Yeah.
That's like, to me, that's a number that belongs somewhere in the future place. It does not match what's going on inside my head. It doesn't match where I think I am in my life, my financial bank account, the fact that I have a 6-year-old child, but then I also have a high schooler and a middle schooler. It's different.
Yes. And most of us, our lives do turn out different than what we expected.
Right.
We think when we're younger, like, this is where I'm going to be at this age, this is where I'm going to be at this age. And like me, I didn't see my life past 30. So it's kind of exciting because my thoughts did stop at 30, that I'm like, this is like, these are like unwritten chapters for me. It's like blank. So I don't have any disappointments in myself.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a
Way
blessing
to go.
that I did stop at 30 because I considered myself successful. And for a long time, I thought I wouldn't be.
Wow.
And that gives me confidence in
You
itself.
know, okay, that right there, I think so many people try to collect enough of a measurement of something to call themselves successful.
Mm.
What caused it to click in your brain that you weren't measuring, that you were decided you're successful?
So when you work to be successful and bring money in, you don't become successful because you're focusing on the money. And if you're measuring
That's
by
a
how
thing,
much,
not an identity.
yes.
Okay.
So when you're measuring by how much money I have, you're going to be disappointed for a long time. My measuring was, what can I do to become better than I already am? So watching, I mean, I take a lot of before and after pictures. So going back even 2 years and doing something similar now, I see growth, like a lot. And you don't know what you don't know until you know it. And then you're like, okay, I have learned a lot.
Yeah.
My clientele is growing. Most of them are referrals. I have up to 5-tier referrals. That to me is success.
Yeah.
And it's enough for me. If I keep growing and keep giving my clients what they're wanting and they're feeling good about themselves, then I am successful in what I'm doing.
There you go.
Yeah.
Is that to say that you don't have bad days?
Oh, I definitely have bad days. I work with people one-on-one, and you can't make everybody happy. And that's another thing I had to learn is not everyone is my client. Just because you have hair, I also do makeup, and just because you have a face doesn't mean I'm your person.
Yeah.
And I have gotten people where I'm like, you know what, I don't think I'm your stylist. Here are some other people. And that is so much more rewarding than taking on someone and hoping that they like my work.
Oh, Lord, yes.
Because then it gives me that integrity. It makes me feel good about who I am.
Right.
Not just making another dollar.
Yeah. That reminds me, I've had a couple of people who have been a potential referral. They've been referrals. And at first blush, I'm like, God, man, yeah, I could work with them, but I'm not so sure that this is going to be right. And it's always funny how you always kind of seem to extend yourself even more for people who aren't going to be a fit.
Yeah.
And something inside of us, our gut knows we should say no, regardless of the financial whatever that can come with that, you know? So I think breaking up with being able to fix or save everybody with, you know, the product or service that you have is huge. I think it's a huge lesson. I think that's why so many people get into desperation.
Yes.
You know, they break up with being desperate after they've had a learning curve, and then they decide who they don't want to do business with anymore, which then starts to define, oh, this is who I do want to do business with. So there's the aspect of not taking on a client because it's not a fit. Then there's the aspect of firing a client.
Yeah.
Because it's no longer a fit.
Yes.
How has that been for you?
You know, I have not had to do that.
Girl! Okay.
They
then
of weed themselves out.
Oh, okay. There it is, yeah.
I have not.
Man, I have hoped, there are certain clients I've had over the years who I hoped would weed themselves out, and some of them have, right? And then there are clients I have literally had to end a contract with. So my contract is written in such a way that if at any point in time after a 90-day period, there's a certain behaviors that take place that I have a right to go ahead and cancel the contract. And so I actually had to add a clause in that if you repeatedly cuss at me, then that's going to be a cancellation of the contract. It's just a level of respect. Like, oh my gosh,
You don't have to take that.
well, I'm not gonna. So, and it's not to say that the value of coaching isn't there. It's that the person is coming up against an immaturity, and I can go ahead and give that some grace for a little while. But once that person stops taking responsibility and now makes their inactivity my fault, and they're adding cussing to it, contract rewritten. So that was a lesson there. I think another one is, and maybe you have, and maybe you haven't run into this yet, which is clients who, and it ended weird, and then 6 months later they want to come back.
Yes.
And I've gotten skilled now at saying, no, I'm not the right fit for you. I wish you the best. I won't be, I'm not taking you on as a client. But that's weird, right? It's that weird awkwardness. I think so much of life and so much of business is dealing with the awkwardness. So,
but that's why I don't look as the first thing that happens as a failure. I look at it as a learning experience.
Yes.
So if you don't have that, how are you going to learn to deal with it in the future?
Yeah.
It's like when we have our first breakup.
Oh,
that is
my gosh,
the worst heart-wrenching thing you'll ever go to.
Your first
oh my gosh, yeah, I remember.
What was his name?
Oh my gosh, it was horrible.
What was his name?
His name was JB.
JB.
JB. He was like my first love. And now I look back at it.
We're blushing.
Yeah. He's still a friend, actually.
He's still a friend?
He was at our wedding.
I thought you said he stole a friend.
No.
Oh my gosh.
No, he's still a friend. He was at my wedding. We're still pretty close. But
wait, how old were you?
We dated through beginning of 7th grade to the end of 9th grade.
Girl, my first boyfriend was Mike, and we were in first grade.
Oh.
And I marched up to, you're gonna be my boyfriend, and his eyes got big as lollipops, and he punched me in the stomach so hard I fell back, lost my breath, and I couldn't breathe. I remember I was like, oh my gosh. Yeah, I was first grade. Good old Mike knocked me out.
Wow, that's a story.
That was. So anyway, well, yeah, I think you're right. Learning how to see each experience as effort and learning. What effort did I put out, or did I not put out? And now what am I learning from it? Okay, how do I go forward? I find that there are so many people on a journey, just like from the beginning of our conversation or towards the beginning, where, again, you have something inside of you and it's just waiting. It's just waiting to be grown and developed and to come out.
Yes.
And once we get into agreement that what's inside of us is good, that what's inside of us is valuable, and is worth sharing, when we can settle that. Now, I know most people start really getting into this journey in their mid-30s to 40s, but some people take forever to get there, to actually settle it, or they don't ever get there. This kind of depends on their walk, right? But for those people who come into agreement with their identity, it's kind of amazing to watch what happens next.
Yeah. Because
then they can just simply grow their skills. Right? You take that natural talent, you take that natural gift that they have, it's just in their DNA for them. You get them to not be arrogant about it, but they're like, wait a second, no, I know who I am, and I know what I'm being asked to do in this world and how I contribute. Now let me go do it, and let me learn how to be great at that. So for you, what's next for you? What's on the horizon?
So my goal last year was to grow my men clientele. I was terrified to do men haircuts. And I was like, what am I doing? Like, that is a constant flow of money because they're in every 4 to 6 weeks. Whereas women, we can wait a little bit longer if we need to. Yeah, but men, not so much.
I've got tinsel. What is it called?
We'll get you in there.
What is this called?
Oh, roots. Shadow roots. Are you talking about your gray? Your silvers?
No, I've got tinseled ombre.
Tinseled ombre. There we go. Like a Christmas tree.
Yeah. It's so funny because I told you, I warned you. I'm like, I'm kind of a twice a year girl. It's just, I am. It's terrible, but
I'm a twice a year girl also, so I get it.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, girl. But come on now, because I don't see no Christmas tinsel in
I don't have any yet.
What?
No, not yet.
Whatever.
I keep a close eye.
I see you with a little marker.
Yeah. Coloring it in. No, I'm lucky.
Way to go.
The wrinkles are coming in before the grays, so.
That's all right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It means I lived.
There you go. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I want to continue my skills with men, and that's the other cool thing is volunteering to do the haircuts for the homeless.
Yeah.
The majority of them are men.
Right.
So I'm really practicing what I want to do while I'm giving back. But so I'm wanting, and I will, I'm still looking, do barbering. So barbering is a lot like cosmetology and what I do, but the difference is I can't use a straight razor. I would love to be able to offer that.
So is it a skill, a license, a sort of, okay.
It's a license. I'd have to go take a test and get my certification.
Yeah.
Be licensed.
Are you going to?
I'm going to.
When are you doing it?
Yeah. Well, I'm looking for a class now. So many of the schools have closed down for just straight barbering that I'm having the most difficult time finding something.
Is that because the beards have taken over everything? There's not barbering?
Right, maybe.
Or is it just Colorado?
No, there's a lot of barbers, mostly on like Federal or Sheridan.
Okay.
You can find some good barbers.
But not a class.
No.
So where do you have to go to get that?
That's what I'm still trying to figure out.
Seriously?
It's
if you
really
go to LA
difficult.
or something, or New York?
It's not a day class. It's like months. So I'd be going several days. Like it's a real license. Like if I were going back to cosmetology school.
It's a for really real license.
For real, yes. A legitimate license.
Yeah, way to go. Because you're using knives on people.
Yes. Otherwise, I'm gonna be like Sweeney Todd. If
oh
you
my
ever saw that movie.
Yeah. Edward Scissor barber.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah.
Don't want that.
Well, I wish you the best. I wish you all the success. I love your heart. I love the heart you have for people. I love the fact that your life has not been easy and you have overcome and you rise. I love the drive that you have to continue to grow. You truly do have a growth mindset. I love my wig busted by you. I don't know when my southern comes out. My southern comes out.
Maybe they use wig there a lot, so it just naturally comes out.
Weave.
Is it
well,
weave?
weave and wig. Well, yeah.
It's like a natural flow.
Yes, Texas in the South. Although I have actually had some weave.
Yeah?
Yeah, like when I wanted my hair down to here and I wanted like Lopez locks or whatever. Anyway, but yeah, so in any case, I love you. You are such a genuine person. Again, just to say one more time, this is Lola's Salon and Boutique, and you are a full service salon.
Yep.
And
everything but perms.
Yeah, because you shouldn't do that anyway.
No. That's the great thing about owning a business. You can choose what you want. And,
that's right.
I don't specialize in perms, so I'm not going to give someone
not gonna do it.
A perm that they're not happy with.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah. Well, I think I agree. Oh, I remember actually one of my pictures when I was a little kid was when my mom gave me. Oh my God, she gave me a bathroom perm. It was horrible.
I think everyone around our age has a perm story.
Well, but I had short hair.
Oh no.
Oh yes. Oh yes.
I can see it already.
I was a pixie permed, haircutted girl, and it was during the age where your teeth are like
my goodness.
this.
Oh,
it was so ugly. Luckily, as my husband, I met him in 4th grade. Luckily, he met me after that phase. That must have been 2nd grade. I must have been in 2nd grade. Wow. I was like this curly-headed Q-tip. It's horrible. Anyway, thank you so much for doing this. I knew this was an exception, but hopefully we felt like we just had a chat and a conversation. And for those of you that are still hanging on, I hope you got value out of this. I would love for you to go ahead and give us some comments about the takeaways that you have from watching this or the inspiration. I hope that you heard something here that touches your heart, or maybe, did I just say heart? Your heart, your heart, or something that you feel a friend or colleague, someone in your life needs to hear. And I think that's it. So thanks so much. Thank you. I'm going to come closer now with this is my Shih Tzu look.
Oh,
this is my little Shih Tzu. Hi. All right. Bye, guys.